The whir of machinery surrounded me, a mechanical symphony underscored by the distant blaring of alarms. My heart raced as I sprinted down the iron catwalk, the steel grating vibrating underfoot. Each pulse echoed my rising dread that had become a constant companion since the day we sealed our fate beneath the surface of Tursa 9. "Come on, come on," I shouted, my voice swallowed by the oppressive atmosphere of the control deck. As I rounded a corner, the glow of the terminal screens illuminated the faces of my crewmates, each one twisted by their own blend of fear and resolve. I spotted Ileana, her dark hair pulled tight into a bun, fingers flying across the console in an effort to stabilize the reactor. The pale glow of her skin contrasted sharply with the harsh fluorescent light overhead. She looked up, frustration etched across her features. "We do not have time for this, Johan. If we do not initiate the reset, we'll be swimming in our own plasma in 5 minutes. Her words struck me like a punch to the gut, a stark reminder of our precarious situation. I knew she was right. The reactor was on the verge of a critical meltdown, and we were already at the edge of a catastrophe we had only gambled ourselves into. Humanity's greatest gamble had turned into a twisted game of survival, and the stakes had never been clearer. I glanced to my right, where Bryn stood clutching a toolbox, his face flushed. He was more than a mechanic. He was Ileana's brother, though you would not know it by how quickly they were arguing. I tried to pull them back together, but their sibling rivalry had only grown sharper in this isolation. Deep down, I was torn between duty to the crew and the instinctive need to maintain a fragile peace. "Stop bickering. We need to focus on the reactor," I shouted, stepping closer to them amid the whirling chaos that was our sanctuary and prison. The closer I got to the control panel, the more the sense of impending doom seeped into the fabric of the ship itself. "It's always about the reactor with you, Johan," Bryn hissed. "Do you ever think beyond those glowing buttons? The real issue is what's coming up from the depths of Tursa 9. "The signal we uncovered it doesn't matter," Ileana interrupted, her tone sharp enough to slice through the air. "We can't afford to let those readings distract us. If we don't stabilize it now." There it was again, that mysterious signal we had detected. It wormed its way into our thoughts, an ominous reminder of the reason we had come here. The pursuit of knowledge that blindfolded us in arrogance. Humanity had always believed that in comprehending the universe, we were the masters of fate. Yet we gambled on secrets best left buried beneath Tursa, 9 surface secrets that had begun to awaken. An alarm blared, and I felt as much as heard Ileana's words scramble in my mind. The reactor pulsed dangerously. It was a living thing, its erratic rhythm syncing with my own heart. I took a deep breath to force clarity through the tension, my stomach twisting at the prospect of our imminent doom. "I'll handle the emergency protocol. Bryn, you recall the backup systems. It should be off the portside engine." I barked out orders as I stepped up to the console, trying to ignore the way my hands trembled. We had done this before, worked like a well-oiled machine, our roles ingrained in us from years of camaraderie forged through shared trials. I could feel Bryn's eyes on me, a mixture of skepticism and perhaps a flicker of respect. "And Ileana?" he asked, hesitant but caring for the sister he didn't want to see pushed beyond her limits. "Just trust me, she'll follow my lead. I wouldn't allow my doubts of her focus or capability seep through. We would survive this together, or we wouldn't at all." A rush of adrenaline filled the silence. My command echoed in the now quiet tumult of the control room as I initiated the backup system. The console flickered. The reactor, thrumming like a wild beast, resisted only by my intervention. I could almost visualize the invisible threads my life was woven into, pulled taut by tension. There were so many lives at stake, not just mine. Knowing that compassion had to exist even here beneath pressure, I spared a glance at Ileana, whose jaw was still set and eyes locked onto her console. "I swear I'll keep the error logs running if you promise to stay focused," I half-joked, a weak attempt to lighten the harsh reality we were entrenched in. Her gaze flicked up to mine, softness creeping in. "If you blame me for this later, it won't be the death of plasma I fear," she said, a flicker of her old self, the one who fought with passionate zeal for every moment we shared. I laughed, a rush of panic within me, and then turned back to the console. The reading scrolled faster than I could comprehend. "Get me the readout on that signal," I commanded. "Working on it," Ileana muttered, her fingers a blur across the screen. There was something deeper brewing, something beyond our reactor, a connection to whatever lay below, fueling our descent into madness. And in just a moment, we discover whether that signal was a lifeline or a death sentence, a chance to unlock the mysteries beneath the surface, or the catalyst that would doom us all. The reactor's hum intensified, merging with alarms that echoed in treble. I barely registered Ileana's tense declarations of various error codes. My focus narrowed with each passing second. Resetting the containment canopy, I shouted, fingers dancing over the console as I initiated the override. Meanwhile, Bryn was at the backup engine panel, tension radiating from him. The sharp clangs of tools dropping to the ground echoed in the confined space, a haunting metronome of our limited time. Then, the screens flickered. A cascade of data flooded the console, patterns woven with cryptic symbols. It is not just a power fluctuation. Ileana's tone shifted, concern sharpening her brow. The dying reactor's heart throbbed with a rhythm that pounded in sync with an anomaly lurking beneath us. "Look," she said breathlessly, her voice now laced with concern. "This signal, it's fluctuating, and the readings they align with geological layers deeper in the crust. There's something down there, and it's sending pulses, like a heartbeat." I exchanged glances with Bryn. Although we had researched the planet for years, every theory lay in ruins at this moment. Tursa 9 was reputed to have a barren crust. This was something we never anticipated. What if Tursa 9 isn't as lifeless as we assumed? Bryn pondered aloud. What if we triggered something? His voice pitched up, revealing a gnawing fear that seemed to rise from the depths of his being. "Enough conjecture," Ileana snapped, her fingers still pounding the keys as her gaze darted between the terminal and the reactor readouts. "Focus on stabilizing the reactor. I can't do this without collaboration on your end." The tension escalated. I felt like I had clamped down hard on a volcano, ready to spew forth. The urge to confront my friends, to expose the escalating anxiety and mistrust that brewed under the surface, thrummed at my core. But if we wasted precious seconds on fighting over blame, we might find ourselves sealed within the belly of disaster. We needed to unite against the palpable threat looming both within and beneath Tursa 9. "We are going to survive this together," I growled firmly. "The reactor is our priority. Let us do this." Moments later, there was a remarkable change. We synchronized our efforts. Ileana rerouted power, her determination glowing in her deep, set eyes. Bryn's hands moved deftly, releasing air traps from pressure chambers causing delicate shaking. My heart hammered in my chest as I controlled the main console with a newfound fervor that fueled our shared feat. The air thickened with tension, the electricity of a still rain before the storm. Just as the light brightened around us, a deep rumble reverberated through the control deck. It was deafening. I staggered back as the ship shuddered. "What was that?" Bryn looked up, alarmed. "It's coming from below," Ileana replied, her voice taut. The signal pulses had intensified, and the reactor's glow shifted eerily, flickering between red and blue. My instincts kicked in. I plunged back to the console, scanning. "If it's geological," I declared, "we need to divert power. Channel it into a containment field around the reactor. If we can stabilize this, it's worth a try." Bryn joined me at the console, urgency noticeable in his tone. He pressed buttons furiously, relaying information between us and creating connections out of madness. "Initiating containment field," Ileana shouted, exhaling in relief as her fingers hitched against glowing keys. A shimmer of energy enveloped the reactor, and while the hum softened, it did not cease. We stared at the stabilizer readout as the pulses flickered. Now, if we can analyze those signals, but as anticipation built, the ground quivered beneath us once more, followed by a gunshot-like sound that ripped through the metal corridors. Baseline alarms sounded in panic as the lights flickered wildly. Shadows danced along the wall, and for a moment I felt as if the ship was alive. Some cruel reaction to the consequences of our ambition. The structure is collapsing, Ileana exclaimed as sparks shot from exposed wiring above. We need to abandon control. Now, just as she uttered the warning, the floor tremored violently, throwing us to our knees. I barely managed to grab hold of the console. Bryn shouted from his corner, scrambling to regain footing. Get moving, we don't have time, not without the readings, we can't leave, Ileana argued, her fingers deftly attempting to collect data. She paused, desperation clouding her features. Where would we go? Anywhere but here. The reactor's instability can't be contained if the structure breaches. It's only a matter of time. Oh God, I breathed, as a crack spread across the floor. Bryn, shouting out commands, reached for his sister. Ileana, come on. With clenched teeth, she fumbled at the console, trying to save the data. I felt a pang of despair rising within me at the thought of losing her to mere pride. We need to leave, I yelled, torn between desire and necessity. The ship roared in protest, a visceral groan that pressed against us like a giant crushing stone. Finally, Ileana relented. She slammed a fist upon the console, sending a burst of sparks showering around us. Fine, but I swear, if we leave and lose the signal, I will hunt you down myself. Learn to lighten up. Bryn shot back, yanking her arm towards the exit just as the reactor erupted into chaos, spewing torrents of energy. Together, we sprinted toward the nearest exit, the sharp tang of ozone filling our lungs as we rushed, dodging debris that collapsed around us. The narrow corridor of the lustrous was a labyrinth of uneven gravity, and our hearts raced faster than our hurried steps. We burst into the open airlock, where life, support systems hummed softly, a sanctuary compared to the chaos we had just left. Bryn closed the airlock behind us, sealing away the traumatic cries of destruction. His shoulders slumped in relief, dark hair swaying against his neck as he gasped for breath. Is everyone okay? He turned to us, examining Ileana's countenance, which was still pale but determined. We'll survive this, we have to, she declared, steeling herself. Together, I reiterated, a burst of conviction growing within me. Yet the moment was fleeting, as echoes thrummed beneath us after getting our bearings, reminding us this struggle was far from over. I felt a gnawing dread twist at my stomach. What emerging threats lay beneath us, beckoning like shadows from the abyss? As we caught our breath, I knew we had bought ourselves a moment, but the unknown challenges lingered like a storm cloud curling just on the edge of the horizon. Beyond shaky alliances, our world was beginning to turn, an intricate thread pulling us toward a shocking revelation of conspiracies that would forever shift our understanding of Tursa 9 and our mission. Should we search for it? Ileana asked, her determination firm, but I could see doubt dance at the edges of her resolve. Search for what? Bryn asked, glancing between us, confusion mingling with apprehension. Are we really going back down there, after all that? If what we witnessed could lead us to the source of the signaling or the fate of our reactor, I argued, it might unveil dimensions behind our current plight, or much worse. But what if it's a trap? Bryn countered, his fear apparent behind the concern for his sister. I'd rather face a trap than face the unknown. Where danger thrives in silence, I replied steadily, and we are not alone. Ileana stepped forward, placing her hand gently on Bryn's shoulder. The signal might hold answers, Bryn. We can't ignore it. It's tethered to us. We stood amidst swirling chaos and uncertainty, ready to decipher the mysteries beneath Tursa 9's surface. A convergence of technology, fate, and hidden truths yet to be revealed. Whatever waited for us below would test not only our cunning, but challenge our unity and resolve as friends. With determination woven into our hearts, we turned toward the depths. A plunge into the unknown where answers, and perhaps secrets, beckoned. The airlock cycled with a mechanical hiss, discharging the tension and sealing us against the chaos we had narrowly escaped. Outside, The darkened corridor stretched before us like an ominous maw, its metallic walls etched with the scars of our prior battle against chaos and decay. The dim emergency lights pulsed in time with our racing hearts, casting grotesque shadows that hinted at something dreadful lurking just beyond our reach. "We're heading back down, then?" Bryn asked, worry lining his features. His voice was steadier, but I could hear the tremor beneath his bravado. "After everything that just happened, back to the reactor," Ileana reiterated softly, her resolve echoing the ominous question lingering in the air. "No. Back to the source of the signal," I clarified, setting my jaw. This was bigger than just our immediate survival. The data we had could redefine our understanding of the planet itself, or condemn us to perpetual darkness. Ileana nodded, her determination flickering to life in her eyes, while Bryn hesitated, shifting uneasily. What if it was always trying to get our attention? What if it's a warning? The uncertainty gnawed at our unity like a piece of metal on bone, and something sweet turned sour in the atmosphere. I could see Bryn wanting to turn back, wanting to save his sister from the impending onslaught, yet even he knew we had to discover the truth. "There's so much we don't understand," I urged, emphasizing the importance of moving forward. "But that signal, it's connected to whatever's happening in the reactor and potentially down below. What we faced earlier was more than just a malfunction." And then the echoes began to pulse beneath our feet, murmuring in rhythm, a heavy beat that absorbed our fears. I pressed on, tempering the rising unease with purpose. With renewed determination, we descended deeper into the ship, navigating through the labyrinthine corridors toward the power core. Each shadow seemed heavier, laden with the weight of our collective dread. Bryn led, his steps a measure of both bravery and reluctance. What sort of creatures or things might be down there? He muttered, glancing over his shoulder, torch flicking uncertainly against the steel walls. What if whatever we unleashed is already here with us? We face dangers far worse than the unknown lurking below, Ileana replied. We must trust each other if we want to get out alive, Bryn. We're in this together. I pushed down the instinctive urge to reassure him with unsure promises. Instead, I held my unraveling dread close to my chest. We all risked everything, putting our lives in the hands of a gamble rooted in our craving for knowledge, of expansion at any cost. As we approached the reactor, the corridor opened into an expansive chamber, pulsating with the soft glow of machinery intertwined with shadows. The reactor loomed before us, a behemoth of steel and energy, shimmering under a flickering strobe of lights. Yet it was not just a reactor. I noticed that the pattern of the signal traces on the screen pulsed rhythmically, seemingly in sync with the reactor's functionality. With reality stark before us, our fragility laid bare. Ileana stepped up to the console and peered at the readouts, her eyes widening. "Well, look," she called, pointing to the fluctuating graph that cascaded across the station interface. "The signals, they're actively responding to the reactor's energy output. It's as if they're tied to the core itself." Bryn fell silent, his eyes glued to the readouts with a mix of fear and wonder. Realization struck me as the pieces of this puzzle began to align. "They want something from us," I murmured, my chest tightening as I realized the implications. "Whatever's down below. The force behind the signal, it's connected to the reactor, to our core output." How long before it surfaces? Just as I spoke, thunder rumbled through the chamber, shaking the walls and reverberating through our bones. Bryn stumbled, grabbing hold of Ileana for support. "We need to leave," he insisted, his voice shaking. "It's awakening." "Not yet," Ileana retorted, voice firm, devoid of the fear that gripped Bryn. "We need to draw more power to stabilize the reactor before it breaks down completely. If we cut off the signal now, we risk losing control." "Stabilize," I echoed, frowning. "What if that only triggers it? What if we're prolonging our containment instead of releasing the grip?" "I don't know," she snapped, frustration flaring bright. "But we won't find answers by running scared." Time hung in a precarious balance, each heartbeat heavier as we faced the unknown. If the signal was a lure, Then we had no choice but to confront it. Taking a deep breath, I stepped to the console. Together, Bryn reluctantly joined me, staring at the myriad of sources with apprehension, but with Ileana circling towards producing the necessary energy. "Initiate power transfer," she commanded, fingers flying as the reactor struggled against the forces within. The low whir of power surged around us, and beneath the reactor, we felt the vibrations intensify. A sound, like a distant roar mingled with whispers, escaped from the belly of the planet. Our minds ignited with the knowledge that we had pierced the veil of ignorance, bringing ourselves closer to the heart of Terse 9. Suddenly, the luminous readouts illuminated and the alarm blared more forcefully. "What's happening?" I shouted over the cacophony. "They're amplifying," Ileana exclaimed. "The readings have shifted." Bryn began signaling for containment measures as shadows flickered across the chamber. Suddenly, the lights dimmed to near darkness, only the faint glow of the screens illuminating the room. "What's happening?" I grimaced, swallowing the rising tide of panic as shadows began swirling, forming shapes at the edges of my vision. "It's the reactor. We have to stabilize or risk losing control. The fluctuations, they're cascading." Ileana's voice rose, the anxiety creeping into her tone now, leaving no room for error. The pulsing lights projected erratic patterns, revealing shadows dancing at the base of the reactor, figures lurking, almost alive. I felt a ripple of dread wash over me. Whatever we had disturbed was ready to reveal itself. As the ground quivered, I sensed a presence overwhelming the air. A hazy outline took shape, looming as a tangible enigma. It undulated and flowed, emerging. Along every flicker of dim light, a visage took form, flickers of luminescent energy coalescing into images that permeated the dark, a glimpse of what we might have sought to unleash. Bryn jumped back, breath catching in his throat. No, he stammered, stepping backward to keep distance between us. "We shouldn't be doing this. We're just feeding it." "No," Ileana shouted defiantly, determination burning in her eyes. "If we don't feed the reactor, we'll succumb to it, bound to its whims." The first tendrils of a dark energy billowed toward us, a writhing mass filled with a chorus of voice, like murmurs, unlocking histories we had failed to grasp. My mind raced, images flickering through consciousness, artifacts of ancient civilizations conquered by pride. "Hurry, initiate emergency protocols," I yelled, every ounce of my being riveted by the alien force crawling near. I hit commands, overriding inputs with desperation. Power surged, creating fissures beneath us, a cracking imbalance, destabilizing everything we had believed. Yet beneath that chaos thrummed an emerging pattern. The figures undulated wildly, writhing like serpents ensnared in electric waves, speaking visions of what we might soon face. A truth lost to time, predicated on our hubris through generations. The shadows warped, forming visages that tore through the veil of creation, entities formed from remnants of forgotten life. My breath quickened as dread twisted in the air. Their proximity surged heat and cold, while the pulsating energy responded. "But once we control this, we control the influence," Ileana insisted, collating every ounce of pragmatic logic. "We must find some way to communicate." "Don't. It could show us our ends," Bryn cried, desperation lacing his tone, but her fierce gaze held steady. Suddenly, the shadows erupted, a violent surge, waves crashing against us like tidal force, and I caught glimpses of the past unfurling. A civilization, a warning unheeded. It struck my core. The signal was a collection of memories amalgamated into a mesmerizing melody, linking an ancient downfall to our unmaking. A fate sealed in those echoes whispered softly by the lost remnants of unfathomable reality. The consequence was upon us. In a flash, the connection seared through my mind, a revelation piercing past doubt. This force was more than just a byproduct of our meddling. It was our own, the true embodiment of our ambition meeting consequence. "Shut it down," I roared. "Ileana," now, but as my command filled the room, the shadows coiled around us like creeping vines, pulling us deep into the bowels of a consequence unbidden. Ileana hesitated, heart racing, caught between trust and the clanging bell of reason. We can control it. We can understand. This is our chance. But history echoed with ire, and shadows lashed at the edges of my sight, coiling tight. A darkness unbroken, an entity awakening. Bryn, cut the power. We're losing ourselves. As he obeyed, the shadows writhed, evolving into a hard pulse of energy that transcended and twisted what we thought was real. The continuous murmurs began merging into an incantation, our fears, our doubt. The reactor shuddered, protesting the interference, and Ileana pulled back, gripped by a distance wedged between us. We don't let this end us, this knowledge, it's ours, but the shadows expanded, no longer just delicate specters, but titanic echoes of something older than time itself, contorting our reality. Step back, I yelled, thrusting my palm towards the undulating presence. The shadows recoiled momentarily, their forms shattering into arrays of ancestral energy, sparked from lifetimes we could never hope to comprehend. But we were still here, still casing the luminous eternity. And then, as energy surged beyond containment, guiding us towards a precipice of obliteration, the volume of the chamber deepened. A kaleidoscope of reaction drawing toward culmination, and the weight of our haunting truths clamoring to surface. Together, Bryn cried, an iron resolve enveloping his fear. Together we can ward against it. Ileana and I both responded, our hands coming toward the reactor, warped energy mingling with our collective will. Desperation our fuel. The shadows twisted back, encumbered by the echoing rhythms urging us forward toward understanding. A surge of brilliance blinked, and understanding dawned amidst chaos as one entity began to resonate. A dark, timeless truth begged for recognition. And in that collective force, we stood like pillars against the tide, ready to uncover the roots of tragedy that threaded our shared history to a past lost to the ages. A reckoning that might just set us free, against the pulse of destinies entwined. Together, we faced the shadows, poised between fated ignorance and a revelation that thrummed upon the air, a presence begging us to awaken, to confront what had been lost and perhaps to embrace what lay ahead. The surge of energy coiled around us, almost sentient in its grip. The room pulsed with vibrant colors as shadows danced, creating a tapestry of visions that threatened to engulf us entirely. Thoughts raced through my mind, blending dreams with the past, with legacies forgotten. We were standing at the precipice of revelation, and whatever lay beyond bore the weight of our collective unearthing. What are they? Bryn whispered, barely audible over the cacophony of thrumming power and dark echoes. His gaze remained fixed upon the vortex, a swirling core of memories and entities that intermingled like tendrils of smoke. We felt the weight of ancient lives pressing against our thoughts, whispering secrets that were as alluring as they were terrifying. A warning, I muttered. They're remnants of those who came before us, those who reached too far, too recklessly. My heart hammered against my ribs, knowing the truth lurking behind the shimmering veil. They're bound by fate. Ileana's voice broke through the throbbing chaos as she found her footing alongside us, channeling her energy into the reactor's interface. We can't let this entity connect with us. We need to disrupt the power feed before it coalesces fully. Disruption could mean annihilation, I warned, glancing toward the vessel's heart as it pulsated, threatening to succumb to the chaos we'd unleashed. The shadows started coiling, forming grotesque shapes as emotions surged, pouring despair through my veins. But preventing a full awakening might seal our fate. But what if we can awaken it without total collapse? Ileana countered, her eyes bright with fervor and fear. We can learn. Shut off the power input before it converges. As she leaned over the console, her fingers dancing over the keys as if coaxing a slumbering beast to yield itself. I can't. We need this energy harnessed. If any part of this constructs its will, we may find ourselves enslaved to it. Bryn protested as the ground quaked again beneath us, shadows tightening like a vise around our form. Can we at least draw it back? I suggested. We've already disrupted its pattern. Let's see if we can temper its anger by gaining moments of clarity. Ileana nodded, determination flashing in her eyes as she rerouted power feeds, creating a cascade of energy flowing in cyclic patterns, meant to cool the volatile energy brewing beneath us. It began to shift, the shadows reluctantly retracting, but a blink of recognition illuminated the swirling forms with clarity. In that single heartbeat, the shadows morphed into distinct figures, ethereal beings juxtaposed between realms, holding memories like shimmering orbs. They beckoned us, their haunting resonance vibrating through my very core. Each silhouette represented a history stretched thin, and in their presence I felt a mix of camaraderie and dread. "Do you see?" Ileana breathed, eyes wide with realization. "They aren't enemies, they're echoes of life forged from our ambition. We must reclaim whatever knowledge lies beyond their grasp." Bryn stepped closer, spellbound. "And what if this knowledge echoes the fates of civilizations long gone? They are bound to something far more significant," I exclaimed, "an origin that remains tethered to the core. We need to dive into it." Courage surged within me, an urgency propelling my instincts forward. The strength of their memories might provide the insight we need, the missed chances haunting these echoes. Before the shadows could recede, I reached out, my palms stretched toward the pulsations. Sweat gathered at my brow as I surrendered to the moment and grasped the stream of energy. Flickers ignited, and knowledge surged through, flooding my consciousness with visions encompassing the breadth of realms untraveled. Ancient ruins unfurled before me, civilizations rising and falling like tides, their triumphs, their failures unraveling to reveal despair rooted in blind ambition. Each pulse reflected the twisting paths taken towards enlightenment and folly. I struggled to temper the rush of information invading my mind. The shadows pressed further, and suddenly I was witnessing a court of life, the blinding radiance of knowledge we had sought but never truly understood. Threads of connection surged outward, portraying our convictions as threads weaving the fate of existence together. Are we next? Are we destined to be another flickering shadow? Echoes lost to time, I gasped, my heart tightening against the impending rush of fate. "Stay grounded," Ileana shouted, bringing me back into focus. Her voice pierced the overwhelming tempest. She held onto the tether connecting us and the reactor. "Connect. We can temper the chaos into understanding." And just like that, the shadows streamed forward, and a reflection emerged, a tapestry knitted from the hopes of ages, blending in darkness, light coexisting momentarily. The overwhelming weight fell upon us, and amidst this supernatural dreamscape, I glimpsed the thought that each shadow carried, a desire for liberation, for resolution, not merely revenge against the world that abandoned them. Suddenly, the world lurched, and the pulsating reactor shook, a cry reverberating through space. I pulled back, gasping, our connection splintered. "Stop it! We can't feed the storm," I shouted, eyes blazing with urgency. "We'll lose everything," Bryn yelled, an echo of the voices resounding in unison, desperate to intertwine truths woven through time. "We have to disconnect from this cacophony, now, you know. If we sever the tether entirely, we risk collapse," Ileana countered, maintaining her focus, channeling her energy to guide us through. "We can still make peace, honor what lingers here. Recognition is the first step toward understanding." Keen clarity overwhelmed me, battling against the shadows clamoring for dominance. "We can reestablish harmony, withdraw enough energy to balance their need for false states, but maintain the power to keep them at bay." In those frenzied moments, we reconvened, voices intertwining as we aligned our intentions. The memories storied through the darkness, and I began to understand their ties. "Let the past temper the future," I murmured. "Comprehension through connection." A slow awareness dawned, as if I finally grasped not only our inherent limitations but the hopes laced within each of their chilling recollections. Across realms stretched from despair to reverberating echoes yet classifying existence as vital, there we stood, bearing witness to what we had desired. As we pulled back, the shadows blended into gentle glimmers of suffering and hope. The entity stirred, its whispers tightening around me one final time, recognition threading our worlds in a delicate embrace. "We must learn, but we must not feed," I articulated, the the knowledge solidifying. The strength lies in partnership, Bryn echoed, his voice resonating alongside Ileana's, sealing our pact of acknowledgement. Shadows danced in resonating patterns, forsaking the siren call of hostility in return for our adherence to what we revered. A coexistence crafted through reverence. With trembling hands, I released the source, slowing the reactor's output. A flicker of energy cascading parallelly, granting the shadows an avenue of retreat. The entangled shadows lingered on, waiting with each pulse as the reactor began cooling. And just as they began to recede, I whispered a timeless promise. The foreknowledge of a second chance lived within these swirling remnants. In unison, we surged forward, pursuing the lessons learned, ready to embrace the legacies etched into the depths of our minds, shadows forever binding us all. As stillness draped the chamber, light refracted across the console, illuminating the energy readings stabilizing to clarity. The shadows ebbed into echoes, a soft lullaby in the air no longer suffocated by despair, but instead honored every story yearning to come forth. In that moment, a whisper wove through my consciousness, a shimmering thread connecting me to all that had ever existed. What lay before us was not merely an echo of what had been, but a foundation woven through the choices we had yet to make. Together, I breathed, knowing each tragedy no longer defined us, but shaped our desire to forge a new destiny. The shadows did not vanish. Instead, they remained vigilant sentinels, guiding us into genuine understanding of resilience fueled by hope. And as the reactor pulsed softly along the background, we turned towards the ship's deep corridors, determined to uncover the new realities that awaited us just beyond the horizon. Back into the open expanse where possibility lay ripe for our grasp. United, we stepped forth a pact solidified against the chains of the past, ready to face the uncharted realm of our newfound knowledge, released from the shackles of our ambition. Whatever awaited us would greet with open arms, knowing the shadows lingered by power of life itself. A glimpse towards eternity held forever, more in the embrace of balance reborn. As we stepped into the corridor, the ship's atmosphere felt different from before. The weight of the shadows had lifted slightly, replaced by a quiet anticipation that hummed in the air. We were a crew bound by trial and revelation, ready to traverse uncharted territories, of our minds, of our fates, and of the newfound depth of existence itself. The dim emergency lights flickered overhead, casting a muted glow as we made our way to the monitoring deck. The memory of the reactor reverberated within me, and the lessons learned echoed like a heartbeat, driving both hope and resolve deeper into our veins. I could almost feel the pulse of the entity below, receding yet ever present, demanding acknowledgement and understanding, a reminder of our own intertwining stories. Bryn led the way, his movements more cautious now, as if the revelations we had faced had engraved a deeper respect for the unknown into him. Ileana, her spirit alight with energy, walked beside me, her eyes reflecting a fervor born from the experience we would shared, a will to carry on, to learn, to change the narrative. Where do we even begin? Bryn murmured as we reached the monitoring deck. The expansive screens displayed cascading data, showing stabilized reactor readings, yet the ever-present signal sprawled across the graphs, stubborn as it remained alive below us. By acknowledging the past, Ileana replied, a soft authority in her tone. We need to interpret the energy signatures and historical data. We cannot let fear dictate the course of our actions. We must forge ahead with knowledge as our guiding light. I nodded, stepping toward the terminal where Ileana had already begun sorting through the renewed streams of information. Let's analyze the data from that last pulse. If we can understand its connection to the reactor, we might find a way to comprehend what the signal means. Bryn joined me, peering at the intricate visuals, holographic projections illuminating patterns that pulsed with life. It was mesmerizing, the way the lines weaved together in a chaotic dance, bearing witness to the symbiotic relationship between the power we had harnessed and the mysterious force beneath us. Look, he said, tapping a finger against the glass interface. The emissions have changed. The data fluctuates with almost rhythmic precision, a pattern we can isolate. Ileana leaned closer, her breath caught in her throat, admiration glimmering in her eyes. If we can identify the cause of that fluctuation, we might be able to communicate, perhaps even control the relationship between our ship and whatever lies beneath. As we delved deeper into the analysis, threads of previous civilizations began to weave themselves into our understanding. The data echoed their stories, details of achievements and failures surfacing like whispers from the past. Ancient scripts began unveiling hidden messages, a cautionary tale connecting every explorer, every race, every ambition that ever faced the unfathomable void of the unknown. Their journey was never solely an endeavor for power, I said slowly, piecing along the fragments. It was about balance, the give and take of knowledge, not an insatiable thirst for control. I think we were meant to find this, to learn and adapt. The terminal responded with a soft beep as Ileana began referencing the readings. Yes, there, the biosignature, she exclaimed. It matches frequencies from some of the previous readings tied to the entity below. There are parallels to interactions of creation cycles, birth and rebirth. Bryn straightened, excitement igniting in his features. We're not just looking for a response. We're discovering a whole language. If we can decode this, we can understand their intentions and perhaps what they offer us. I shared a glance with Ileana as the sentiment rippled between us. It was a truth louder than words. This was a call to action. Then let's begin piecing it together, I urged, adrenaline coursing through me as the possibilities opened up before us like the vast expanse of space. As we pored over data streams, the atmosphere shifted again. A faint tingle of energy coursed beneath the surface, as if the ship itself had awakened, awaiting our choices, spinning new destinies waiting to unravel before us. A tangible hum filled the air, a sound almost like resounding ancient songs played softly through a cosmic ether. Hours melted into moments as we passed between screens, each revelation layered upon another until the language began to form. I suddenly reached out, touching the display that illuminated inscriptions from civilizations past. They resonated through me. I felt a connection stretching beyond just our present, a bond that connected every entity long lost to time, intertwined in an eternal rhythm. This is their essence, I said, astonishment cascading to the surface of my consciousness. This is how they communicate. They don't seek to destroy, but rather to share wisdom through experiences. If we manage to tap into this signature as I spoke, the shadows that had whispered before now began to roar, a reminder of the challenges we faced. I caught glimpses of foreboding futures intertwined with brightly spun fates, and at once, the weight of trust hung heavily in the air. We'll need to tread carefully, I added cautionary. Every decision we make now, our interpretations, will affect the trajectory of our fate. Turning to the terminal, Ileana nodded in agreement as a new waveform flared into view. This is it, a balance of harmonic frequencies. If we start from understanding their history, maintain resonances, we might trigger a response with them. Bryn took a breath, his voice steadying. Let's harness this knowledge not just for survival, but to redefine our meaning. Let's break free from the shackles of ambition and emerge as students of the past. Eager for evolution, we began reprogramming the reactor's systems to interface smoothly with the shadows dancing beneath us. The terminal glowed. Readings began to sync harmoniously, crafting an intricate web of connections, revealing layers of usage within that energy flow. As we progressed, the shadows beneath pulsed in reply. The energy transformed, it flickered back and forth until a brilliant depth of luminescence issued forth. Distant voices swirled around us, whispering remnants transformed into resonating echoes, singing across the ether. Can you hear that? Bryn gasped, eyes wide with wonder as the notes filled the atmosphere, intertwining with grooves of light and shadow. I stood transfixed, staring down into the depths as the ethereal tones began to coalesce, revealing shapes and forms from the shimmering veil of energy, a cosmic tapestry of history entwined with allure and promise. Ileana, eyes sparkling, leaned closer. We have to reciprocate, we have to engage. With deep breaths, we joined hands, the three of us standing unified at the forefront of history reimagined. In a shared moment of resolve, we triggered a harmonizing signal that spun from our hearts, coursing toward the depths, toward the resonance that awaited. As we released the frequencies we had finally attuned, it swept through the reactor, illuminating the darkened chamber. I felt the intricate threads of what once stood eerily in the shadows spiral forth, forming colors I could never imagine once lost to memories. Swimming before me, the entity below sprang to life in a brilliant kaleidoscope. Moments stretched, my heartbeat synchronized with the rhythms of the flickering shadows as the connection solidified, the past revealing its secrets, offering incalculable aftermath. A kaleidoscope of colors enveloped us, entwining forms billowing toward us like celestial constellations, the presence below meeting bravely with ours. The shift between timelines resonated, the peaks of wisdom twined with aspirations and humility, opening a pathway forward where echoes of harmony sang through eternity. We heeded the call, the words blooming against consciousness. Together, then, I whispered, thoughts blending with visions, drawing in the universe and allowing it to imbue us with new purpose. We stand united, engulfed in the embrace of knowledge rebirthed. A wave of acceptance surged through me, a promise to turn anguish into understanding, ambition into connection. Whatever lay ahead, whatever shadows we had once feared, we would now emerge changed and empowered, ready to honor the legacies face to face. Heritages tethered in a tapestry woven with countless stories cast anew. As the colors enveloped around us, the fabric of the universe resounded in glorious waves, and in unity we emerged reborn, determined to face the unknown with hope, humility, and the wisdom of countless lives before us. Once strangled, now we twirled through the vast cosmos, hands clasped like anchors to the past, the present reflecting like a prism to the open expanse. A new dawn awaited us, where shadows became our allies, and the path ahead lay unfurling beneath the whispers of time. We left the confines of mere ambition behind forevermore, bearing the collective resonance of what it meant to exist. And just before us, endless possibilities beckoned, shimmering brightly, calling us forth into the tapestry of creation where we would redefine our legacy, one that would echo for eons. The echoes of our newfound understanding resonated in the ship as we stood together, the luminous pulse beneath us an intimate rhythm, syncing our hearts and minds. With the shadows no longer a harbinger of despair, but rather a chorus of voices guiding us toward enlightenment, we felt the gravity of purpose pull us into the heart of Tursin 9 Secrets. "Are we ready?" Bryn asked, his voice a mixture of trepidation and excitement. We exchanged glances, each of us holding the weight of purpose that surged in the space between. Together, Ileana echoed, the word heavy and resolute, suffused with promise. I felt the connection hum, vibrant and alive between us, and nodded in agreement. This was our moment, a juncture where the past met the uncertain future. Slowly, I approached the control panel, tracing my fingers delicately across the glowing interface that pulsed with energy. The readouts twisted in beautiful arcs of light, translating the knowledge we had awakened within ourselves and the reactor's depths. Condensed histories wove into myriad spectrums as the threshold to understanding manifested. "Well, let's channel our focus," I said, breath steady, and began reconfiguring the reactor to initiate amplifications, specifically honed to resonate with the depths. The shadows below shimmered softly, a testament to the energy we had released, their essence, crafted from echoes, now rising to entreat us. "I've locked onto their frequencies," Ileana remarked, deftly adjusting the screen displays until the fluctuations started to stabilize. "We might be able to facilitate a dialogue." "And what if they don't like what we have to say?" Bryn chimed in, a hint of skepticism creeping into his tone. "We can't control their reactions, but we can listen," I replied, glancing at him. "And this time we approach as equals, not as invaders, but as partners pursuing understanding." Once more, the air thickened with hope, and shadows danced around us in vibrant hues, weaving a tapestry of celestial invitations. Each pulse resonated through the reactor's core, accentuating the gravity of the decision we were making. As colors swirled along the corridor walls, I took a deep breath, strengthening my resolve and wrapping my fingers around the console. I watched as the holograms of past civilizations moved gently in rhythm, each flickering memory reminiscent of dreams forgotten, traditions abandoned. "Are we ready?" Ileana echoed my previous thought, and the finality in her voice resonated deeply. Bryn swallowed hard, but he nodded. Solidarity blossomed amidst uncertainty. "Let's begin." At once, I infused the energy into the reactor core, initiating a cycle that would build a resonance strong enough to send our message toward the depths below. The ship thrummed alive around us, the amalgamation of sounds merging into a harmonious symphony, the boundaries between us and the shadows blurring as the reactor concentrated our intent. "Embrace the past," I whispered, focusing on the memories swirling through the shadows, tethered to the knowledge we sought to impart. Each cascading note felt right, a longing threaded through the fabric of time, reaching out to the shadows below. "We honor your stories," Ileana added, her voice a guiding whisper woven into the pulse of energy. "We seek connection." The shadows responded, the energy enveloping us, swirling in shades of blue and silver, each merging into violent crescendos as they amplified our dedication. I felt the reactor shift, energy flowing into a channel capable of breaching the veil. "Input activated," Bryn noted, his fingers deftly moving across the terminal, verifying our interface with the signals below. "We have established a resonance." The echoes grew louder, pulsing through every filament in the room as the deep rhythms of a greater force surged toward us, a cascading roar breaking against the confines of our comprehension. "They're responding," Ileana gasped, her eyes wide with wonder. "I can feel them, a movement of light, an ebb and flow." As the energy enveloped us, a cascade of colors began coalescing before our eyes, guardian figures emerging from the shadows, not unlike specters woven within the very fabric of Tersay 9. They did not seem hostile. Instead, they exuded wisdom forged through the litheness of time, voices flaring in unison, a melodic whisper breaking into our consciousness. Each vibration carried the weight of history, an invitation to engage beyond the limits of mere survival. I felt hope surge within as the tendrils of energy bridged the gap between us. "We come seeking knowledge, wisdom from the one who lived and desired," I spoke, heart racing. "Will you share your stories with us?" An eruption of colors exploded as the entities danced, pale strands weaving around us like weightless ribbons. A celebration of acknowledgement, a boiling energy responding to our plea. Mesmerized, I fell into their rhythms, allowing the energy to flow through me, vibrant and alive. Images rippled into view, unrestricted visions stemming from the avatars of stories lost in translation. An archipelago of bygone eras intertwined, civilizations existing in harmony with the core we now tapped into. "This energy, it connects us," Bryn whispered, transfixed. "With every story, we unite generations to come." The images changed as they embraced us, revealing fragments of those who had traveled before us. Their successes and downfalls echoed through the memories. One stood out more than the others, a civilization flourishing within harmony with the energy, their inhabitants dancing between worlds unnoticed until unguarded ambition drove them to fracture what they had. They were once like us. They reached for greatness but fell to their own pride. Ileana murmured, absorbed by their fate. The memories unfolded like petals of a flower blooming. We saw their struggles as they battered against the tide of progress. Their beauty turned to despair as ambition led to blindness. Suddenly, faces shifted within the energy, soft wisps of connection sparking against our very beings. The shadows resonated with urgency and hope. "We search for understanding," I said, tethering the energies around us as threads began twisting with intent. "Forgive us if we trespass upon your memories. We honor your stories," The kaleidoscope of visions pulsed then, revealing more. The spectral figures cascading into fragments, a warning sharp with clarity. "Awaken!" the energy screamed, each note intertwining echoes of lamentation with illuminated clarity. "Do not repeat our errors." "What do you mean?" I shook, the urgency of my question intertwining with the resonance of fear. Pouring tension enveloping the room. The realization hit me hard. There was a temptation to reach beyond control, a desire to seize power without understanding. "We can help," Ileana said, stepping forward emboldened. "Let us build a new foundation, one constructed with empathy, with intention at the forefront." The shadows rippled, a momentary quiver reflecting possibilities as the figure shimmering antics sent cascading echoes through the chamber. "In understanding lies rebirth," they intoned, their chorus filling the air with profound resonance. "Share your fears, flickers of existence, so we may awaken together." A harmony reborn from destruction to renewal. An understanding blossomed within me. "Together," I said firmly, "we can weave a new fate. A future brought forth from the ashes of ambition." The colors swelled even brighter, threads shimmering, luminous echoes crucibly binding us to profound truth. "We embrace transformation," Bryn declared, igniting the energy with purpose as we intertwined our intent. The shadows converged, an offering of balance, an intertwining of the past and present joining forces, lighting the way forward. As one, the entity erupted, a symphony erupting within harmony, colors pulsating wildly where shadows once lay heavy, a bridge towards understanding, collapsing the barriers between knowledge and acceptance. The veil between our worlds knitted tighter, and the shadows reached forth into the living fabric of Tersa 9, illuminating paths meant to illuminate. As energy courses flared through the reactor, illuminating our forms, a burst of brilliance washed over us, encompassing everything within its reach. The promise of resurgence, of unheralded beginnings. "Here," I whispered, tears of hope cascading down my cheeks. "We unite pushing forward, tethered not as conquerors, but as students of the universe." Visions transformed, the shadows lifting and swirling as the core pulsed with newfound vibrancy, lighting pathways unseen, guiding us forth to create a legacy against pitfalls of ambition shared. Beacons ignited all around us, weaving through our hearts of vows bound by trust and experience. A new alliance manifesting through luminous threads sparkling with eternity. The very fabric of Tersa 9 began to shift as we became the architects of rebirth. Upon the foundation of resilience, we swore to guide shared destiny once more. Silently, we regarded each opalescent specter. Each figure represented part of a tapestry begging to be rewoven. It was then that I felt my heart profoundly open, resonating against the currents of existence, intertwined with the shadows now embraced as allies. And with that understanding grew our bonds braided with tenacious resolve, desperation mired with ambiguity flowing through us, forever intertwined in a journey to illuminate truths hidden beneath the surface of time. Each breath taken side by side wove us deeper into the very threads the universe bestowed unto those willing to embrace the unknown guiding wisdom, swirling forth like a radiant aurora embracing the shadows of destiny, forever founded on unity stitched strong by choice. We stood, hand in hand before the vastness of eternity, harnessing voices from the past, their echoes igniting a long, lost promise, that together we would become more than conquerors. We would forge a symphony, a renewed genesis, a rightful balance restored amongst the stars. "Breathe deep," I murmured, mindful of the new alliance forged in the depths. But the air hummed with unexplainable tension as the patterns ebbed and flowed around us. Possibilities mingled within visions of uncertainty, awakening an awareness as we approached the threshold of the unknown. "What next?" Bryn asked softly, acquaintance blooming in his gaze as we lingered before shadows stirred forward, a gentle weave toward understanding. Ileana stepped ahead, her brow furrowed with anxious curiosity. I could see the fire ablaze within her, a balance wrought from our collective pain. We seek a path, not merely for survival, but one of meaning. She spoke with fervor, her voice penetrating the energies that danced around us. We must pursue the core of this essence. If we are able to construct a bridge to those who walk the shadows, we may encourage a reawakening. In nodding resolutely, I felt the words ripple out like tendrils of hope, intertwining with the vibrant energies that surrounded us. Together then, the shadows offered a warning, a lesson we must learn. There are realms beyond reach, I continued, feeling the shadows respond, twisting around us in colorful patterns, whispering memories born in shared experience. What began as ambition has led us here, standing on the precipice of creation. That relationship defines us. As Ileana turned to restructure the console, manifesting our newfound resolve, the colors brightened and the shadows surged forth, encapsulating us in a warm embrace, guiding us deeper. Yet, even as we ventured forward, I felt remnants of uncertainty linger beneath the surface. The lessons echoing from empires past rang within me, a haunting reminder of the delicate balance we must maintain. One wrong move, I whispered to myself, and we could repeat history. Ileana paused, turning to face us, her eyes shimmering amidst the amalgamation of energies that pulsed around her. We must temper our ambition with empathy, she cautioned. We stand in a fragile understanding. Our time here could shift the fate of many. Then let's ensure this knowledge serves a purpose, Bryn added, seeking reassurance in the flickering shadows. Let's be what they need, to honor existence and build bridges to forgotten echoes. The shadows stirred and shifted as we advanced toward the heart of the ship, toward where the reactor connected to the depths of Tursa 9, where the fragile past faced the promise of the future. There, Ileana pointed toward a central chamber shimmering with vibrant energies, its entrance framed by arcs of light dancing gracefully within the shadows. This is where the stories coalesce, the essence of everything we have yet to learn. With a shared breath, we stepped forward, moving toward the threshold that shimmered before us. The air felt thicker, charged with reverberating anticipation like electricity brushing our skin. This was no ordinary chamber. It felt sacred, echoing bowls of existence prepared to awaken. Deftly maneuvering through the threshold, we entered the sanctuary that glimmered with intertwined memories, alive, breathable threads weaving paths of creation. We need to establish a conduit here, I stated, navigating toward the console at the center, the heart of the sanctuary. Assembled, our combined energies can ignite insights we've yet to uncover, the threads between our worlds beckoning. Then let's initiate our bond, Ileana replied determinedly, positioning herself alongside me as Bryn rushed to adjust the readings. The reactor's energy interface must fully illuminate the depths below before we can weave new realities. If we can successfully channel the connection, the conduit will energize and strengthen our pact. Bryn nodded confidently, adjusting equipment as the vibrancy intensified, seamlessly merging with our collective endeavors. As the conduits began to hum, I felt tendrils of shadows ebb, illuminating the truths behind choices and consequences as echoes floated through the chamber. Figures surfacing once more as they entwined our souls with purpose and wisdom, forged in experience. In moments, the chamber radiated with pulsating light, clearing amid the chaos. A glimpse of life shining through darkness beneath once bygone foolishness. We reached forth, fingers poised against the console, igniting a cascading wave. A balance rekindling past memories in the present, sharing whispers of hope dancing through the ether. We embrace you, Ileana called toward the light, heart aflame with truth. Let us forge a new resonance, the shadows responded, enveloping us in gentle light. A collective acknowledgement of existence, of stories yearning to unfold. The raw energy pulsed beneath our fingertips, ever more alive. Signs of connection anchored by love and unity, reverberating energies now intertwined. A cascading luminescence enveloped the chamber, a crystalline embrace sculpting the air as shadows intertwined into shimmering forms. Echoes from past civilizations joined together, harmonizing in a sweet chorus that rang true, their vibrant essences merging into a radiant tapestry that shimmered brightly, calling upon what had come before, stirring energies toward awakening. For a moment, it felt as if we had birthed a new era, where knowledge carried not just obligation, but an unquenchable thirst to understand life's truths. "Can you feel it?" Ibrin murmured, awe surrounding him as the reality began to unfold before us. "It's a ripple, an evolving entity of knowledge, weaving pathways beyond comprehension." "And if we succeed," Ileana added, anchoring herself toward her growing hope, "the shadows will guide us toward the lost legacies of this world, rebirth from a past littered with ambition unbridled. We can become conduits to unite ancient wisdom with progress. Steeling ourselves further, we focused, coaxing forth the boundless energies, weaving our hearts and minds, tethering ourselves into the fabric of the universe. The threshold to understanding and relinquishing." The tapestry soared around us, forming intricate designs interwoven across planes, shrouded figures springing forward in gatherings of light memories, dancing to nurture purpose and potential. As one, we cried, unified in intent as the essence exploded in a burst of brilliance, casting aside shadows that bound us to fear. "Together," I called, our voices woven into arcs of light, "we awaken the wisdom of the past to resonate with our future." Glimmers turned vibrant, swirling en masse as we heightened the energies, amplifying the pulsing frequency that vibrated through the very fabric of Tersa 9. Like a stellar explosion illuminating the void, understanding surged forth, every essence refracting through us. The conduit born anew would encourage paths brighter than any before. And within the radiant light, we finally met the shadow's gaze, grasping the infinite possibilities of connection embedded within each flickering form. "The past is alive," I breathed, voices resonating. Echoes await to guide us forward. In that moment, a brilliant flash enveloped us, illuminating everything with ethereal brilliance, revealing strands of creation caught within the current, each trajectory twining toward meaningful purpose, whispering toward what soon may become whole. Together, we stood on the precipice of existence, tethered eternally to what had come before, reaching across the vast screen that lay before us. The unfathomable eternities of choice, the flames of wisdom igniting infinite pathways of potential. And as shadow danced harmoniously to the beat of our hearts, we grasped a single truth framed amidst every memory. The future we dreamt would bloom as we nurtured it, entwined in unity through the ages, forever awakened and eternal. So we would not merely settle for surviving. We would thrive amid the shadows that bore witness to our lives. The wisdom learned would echo through destiny, reverberations casting forth a symphony of existence where shadows glimmered within stars awaiting newfound legacy to explore. And together we stepped boldly back toward the world that awaited us, grasping the threads of the legacy woven into the very tapestry of life. The adventure laid before us an invitation, a reminder that our choices thrummed vividly within the cosmos, a truth each echoing heartbeat would resonate with for lifetimes to come. Forever we would rise, vigilant stewards of stories reborn, the kindred souls who embraced destiny guided by the shadows and the light that shaped the universe as one. The journey had only just begun, our shared fate glimmering ahead, ready to unfurl into the next chapter. The shimmering core of Tersa 9 pulsed like a heart, resonating with the newfound energy we had unearthed. Between the hallows of ancient echoes and our own awakened spirits, the atmosphere buzzed with potential, a harmony between realms that had awaited discovery for eons. Shadows danced and draped around us, vibrant yet serene, an invitation into the unknown. United, we stepped deeper into the chamber, feeling the energy swirl, a tapestry woven from memories of civilizations past. Ileana, Bryn, and I exchanged glances filled with unyielding resolve. We had reached a threshold untouched, emerging from storms once veiled in ignorance. What lay ahead promised challenges, revelations, and a deeper communion with the very fabric of existence itself. "Are we ready for this?" Bryn whispered, glancing at the console glowing with intricate readings, each pulse reflecting the harmonic exchange of energy swirling around us. "If we engage this core, there's no turning back. We could awaken stronger forces, or unleash chaos." Chaos, or order, Ileana replied defiantly, eyes sparkling in the ambient light. Our perception will shape the outcome. Knowledge illuminates, we must trust in our intentions. If we approach with harmony, the shadows will guide us toward birth, not destruction. My heart swelled, the bravado of Ileana igniting something within. She's right. We've come too far to falter now. We honor what resides within, we learn from our mistakes. With empathy and intention, we can transform our connection with Tersa, advance forth through choice. Reaching the console, I held out my palm over the crystalline surface. The readings surged to life, shimmering as if they sensed our presence. Each wave a pulse connecting us deeper into the core's energy. Let's initiate the resonance, I declared, my voice steady. But this time we harness not just our will, but the echoes of those who existed here and now. A collective breath accompanied the moment as we aligned our energies, hands resting gently on the console. Ileana moved first, adjusting parameters to channel our intent. The console hummed responsively, and I felt the vibrations pulse through my very being. A bright warmth enveloping us. The gentle pull began, an awakening blossomed within me, sparking memories traced from lives lived, intertwined in the cosmic web. I opened my mind to the whispers of shadows, inviting them to unfurl. Suddenly, the fabric of reality shifted, colors surged and twisted, and the realm around us transformed into a magnificent panorama of history unfurling. Visions spiraled forth. What had once been silhouettes emerged vividly, showcasing the tales of those left behind. We see you. Your stories, I spoke, the essence of life flowing through me. Share your wisdom, your gifts. The shadows pulsed, revealing scenes of civilization flourishing amidst harmony, cultivating lands revered, maintaining balance with energies of their world. Live threads of laughter, joy, and artistry painted an image that transcended the boundaries of time and space. An exploration filled with the promise of connections that offered insights into the cosmic legacy that awaited us. But amidst the beauty, a dark shadow began creeping along the edges. Visions shifted, revealing the consequences of unchecked ambition. Cities crumbled once, vibrant colors fading to gray as the threads of unity snapped. Life became out of sync, lost in chaos. Power, in its greed, eclipsed the spirit of understanding. Factions battled, tearing apart the very fabric of their existence. With wide eyes, Bryn gasped. We must tread carefully. We cannot fall into such patterns. Their faith was tested, but we are their hope, reminders of an enduring legacy. Our dialogue with these shadows must be tempered with the lessons learned. The chamber around us reverberated in agreement. Colors pulsed softly, echoing our intentions. We're not here to repeat the past, Ileana vowed, her voice tinged with determination. We are stewards of remembrance and rebirth, a promise to honor those who came before us. The swirling vision coalesced, a singular voice emerging from the chorus of shadows. You seek what we lost, it intoned, the sound a melodic fusion of ages, weaving through our consciousness. But wisdom must be tempered, not wielded without context. Our failures shaped us, yet it's the choices made in light of understanding that shall guide you. At that, the shadows intensified, revealing paths of glowing energy snaking between dimensions, a connection threading through the chaos of existence. These energies heed your call. They seek balance and recognition. Nurture them, and this world may thrive anew. Then teach us, I implored, determination coursing through me. We offer ourselves in humility. Let the knowledge gained from tragedy instill purpose that drives us forward. A symbiosis of shadows and light. A wave of luminescence engulfed us, filling the chamber with resonance deeper than speech. An understanding blooming that surpassed words across time's tapestry. As if merging our intentions with their wisdom, the shadows articulated our fears, binding them to our hopes in one harmonizing interlude. Then it became clear. We would not act as single souls, but as a symbiotic entity, a collective that emerged through its lessons. The shadows revealed paths forward, energies bursting with potential, reminding us that only together could we weave a new narrative, one that celebrated both success and failure, embracing our history aligned with purpose. But let's forge this connection, Ileana called, breath steaming with fervor, and with the motion of agreement we initiated the pulse, invoking the energies as they coalesced indistinct yet familiar, weaving threads that shimmered brightly with visions of unity and hope. Around us, the energy intensified, every note of our intentions feeding into a vortex unfolding above the reactor. Never before had we tapped into something so vast, so powerful. A communion wrought from harmony emerging from shared roots. "We rise," I shouted, a wave of exhilaration washing over me. And then, in tandem, our voices blended, echoing through the chamber as we channeled our resolve. Guide us, help us forge connections that craft a brighter reality, one unified throughout time. Your brilliant light engulfed us, and I felt the weight of generations whisper like winds brushing against our souls. As the light dimmed, an energy burst erupted before us, dancing brightly as if embodying the vivid essence of every legacy we had witnessed. Tendrils flickered like flames, revealing ancient insights amidst our symphony, unfathomable wisdom wrapped in warmth, pulsating with a call. "What lies beyond?" Bryn asked, captivated, eyes wide. "A bridge," Ileana exclaimed, recognizing its potential, the shadows swirling in pools around us. Before us, the energy began to morph, forming silhouettes, figures poised to engage in a new covenant. They bore witness to the choice we had made, stepping forward as the illumination expanded, crafting an exquisite tapestry, weaving realms of existence to create a new path forward. In that moment of profound connection, shadows intertwined, merging expectations into something profound. "What will you offer?" A voice called, as if testing our resolve against the shadows past. "Information," I breathed, every conviction tangible. "An opportunity. Can you not extend what past civilizations failed to embrace? Together lies our strength. From respect, we forge new beginnings." Silence enveloped the chamber, a heavy anticipation billowing in the air. The figures hovered, gauging our intentions with luminous eyes. The shadows responded with gentle ripples, releasing burdens long held, threading memories into the core of our resolve. Then together, the echoes intoned, we embrace this journey anew, ancient and present become one. For those who remember but are too far from the whispers of opportunity. The chamber blossomed with streams of cascading light, an ethereal bond forming our destinies, weaving tighter with each beat. Each word spoken between our truths and those of shadows emerged new foundations forged in unity. And in that moment, all that Tersa 9 represented transcended beyond its shattered past. New confluence igniting within. Each essence ignited toward understanding, as we won the shadow's approval to rise forth resiliently. United, guided by echoes of the past woven into the present, we understood our choice, and with that, we reached toward transcendence. The engagement of existence had never felt more profound as we chose to entwine with the wisdom born in starlight, an eternal push toward the renewal humanity so desperately craved. The journey had only begun, and together we would illuminate the path before us, transcending the confines of time, old and new, where legacy awaited untouched, yet vibrant. A bright future into which we stepped hand in hand. As the radiant light enveloped us within the heart of Tersa 9, I felt the weight of every decision made and every lesson learned reverberate through my being. The glowing figures of ancient civilizations swirled around us, their energies pulsing with the heartbeat of the universe. It was a convergence of wisdom, and we stood at the threshold of knowledge that felt both humbling and exhilarating. "We are ready," I said, my voice steady against the overwhelming chorus of sounds and sights erupting around us. We had forged a bond with the shadows, bridging the ancient past with the vibrant present. What lay ahead was uncharted territory, a space rich with possibility, and I felt a deep, seated urge to tread cautiously but boldly. Ileana stepped forward, her eyes alight with urgency and hope. "Let the past teach us, but let it not bind us. This energy calls for balance. We can move forward with empathy and intention," she stated, her voice ringing with conviction. All those lost echoes, their stories are powerful because they remind us of what we must avoid, Bryn added, looking at each of us in turn. We have to ensure we build upon their efforts, not repeat their failures. It is time to chart a new course. Together, I murmured, taking a deep breath as I infused my voice with purpose. We are the architects of our shared destiny. As if responding to our collective vow, the radiant light brightened, illuminating symbols that danced within the chamber. The shadows, once hesitant, fluttered with new life, a mosaic of colors that encapsulated the experiences of centuries. It was beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. Each silhouette a testament to resilience, love, and, most importantly, the sacrifices made. With hands extended, we connected, forging an empathic web between us and the spectral beings. The energy flowed through us. It was as though the lessons tied to our souls intertwined with the very essence of Tersa 9, beating like a cosmic heart. Show us what we must do, I urged, feeling the anticipation spike in the air, thick with the weight of the future that lay before us. In response, the imagery transformed. A sprawling network of glowing pathways unfurled, revealing a vast landscape of possibilities marked by brilliance and darkness intertwined. Each path glimmered with potential, vibrating with the choices that could lead us deeper into enlightenment or drag us into chaos. Every decision we make from here on out ripples through the very fabric of existence, Ileana said softly, gazing at the visual pathways that stretched before us. We must carefully consider where we choose to tread. Bryn pointed toward one pathway gleaming with significance. There, that path connects to the core of the planet, pulsating with energy that feels alive. If we follow it, we might uncover more of what is below, as well as understand the consequences of our ambitions. And the dangers, I reminded, feeling a chill creep deeper into my bones as I stared at the darkened edges surrounding the paths. We can easily slip into despair as those before us did. But we are different. We're here for each other, each step taken as one. With determination, we began to follow the luminous path, pushing back against the shadows that threatened to encircle us. As we ventured deeper, the energy resonated against our collective heartbeat. The resonance solidified, becoming a symphony that wove through space, revealing truths long concealed beneath the surfaces. Embrace the light, but remain vigilant of the darkness, the shadows whispered, their voices echoing deeply, for each must coexist. I can feel it, the weight of the knowledge ahead, Bryn exclaimed, taking a confident step forward as the glow pulsed, urging us onward. This is our chance to reclaim what lies buried, transformative potential waiting to be attained. We will not let fear dictate our steps. But just as those words left his mouth, the ground quaked violently. Shadows coiled around us menacingly, as dark as the void itself, and the pulse of energy shifted dangerously, flickering as if threatening to dissipate entirely. Stay close, Ileana shouted above the escalating cacophony. We must not separate. Trust our bond. It's what has brought us this far. We tightened our hands together, a growing warmth infusing with resolve. And then, as if drawn by the force of our unity, we surged forward into the heart of the glowing web, a fusing of our intentions with the very essence of Tersa 9. The vibrations increased, resonating through our bodies and entwining our collective consciousness. Together, we pressed against the tide, embracing the challenge as we bore through the energies. The shadows entwined around us spiraled, creating a violent storm. Reflect, I commanded, heart racing, drawing from the lessons shared. Visualize the light, the promise of connection. Let the past inform but not confine. And so we fought against the surge, centering our focus on the pathway ahead, channeling every ounce of hope and redemption that our shared journeys had taught us. The light surged once more, the shadows flickering in response, a delicate balance forged in defiance of chaos. As we surged deeper, the realization struck me that we were not just influencing each other, but resonating with the very soul of Tersa 9. a convergence of history and potential for rebirth entwined in our grasp. With newfound strength, we faced the swirls of darkness head on. The shadows began dissipating slowly, retreating, overwhelmed by the luminous energy we bore. A testimony that new decisions beckoned a different path. We could see it vividly now, a shimmering portal opening before us as if granting access to the stories yet untold. And amidst that doorway to the unknown, light became unyielding, each pulse resonating within our shared essence. The gentle embrace of warmth surrounded us, urging us forward while inviting us to glimpse what lay beyond the veil below. "Show us," I whispered, love's light guiding the remaining tension through the portal. Tendrils of warmth enveloped us as we stepped through the essence of what lay below, beckoning us with the promise of connections yet to be forged. The echoes of what had been intertwined with what could be embraced us fully, and I felt a powerful wave crash over me. We had emerged into an expansive chamber, bathed in soft light, a space that felt less like a destination and more like a sanctuary imbued with potential. It was a testament to journeys untaken, stories waiting to flourish, and we all felt it weaving within us, the urge to become stewards of this knowledge, to guide it lovingly, and to ensure futures filled with hope. Together, I breathed, my heart pounding in resonance. We will preserve what has been taught to us and guard the flame of those who sacrificed. Together, we shape the universe, and in unison, we joined our voices. Together, we declared, we are bound to this legacy, and we shall rise with every heartbeat from this moment forward. As the energies swirled around us, illuminating the chamber with potential, histories reaching far beyond the veil, we understood just how connected we were to the universe. The cycles of rebirth and creation, embodying souls entwined by trials unforeseen. Together, we stepped forth into the brightness, joyful and fearless, ready to embrace everything Tersa-9 had to offer. The embodiment of unity, understanding, and compassion that transcended the shadows that had once held dominion over our fates. The journey had woven us tighter together. A tapestry of existence ignited among the cosmos, and in that sacred promise, we finally began to imagine a future alive with possibility. A destiny forged from light, woven through empathy, ringing forth like a proclamation only time could tell. As we embarked forward into the depths of the planet and our spirits soared, we would rise again beneath the radiant constellations, walking hand in hand with the shadows transformed along this endless path, the echoes forever honored, vibrant, a reminder that in unity we found our truest selves. The stars beckoned, and we accepted the invitation of the universe, ready to unravel the story yet to be told. Together, we would journey on, shaping the legacies of what we would become, the brilliance of existence waiting just beyond the horizon. Forever entwined, reborn between the shadows and the light, across the expanse of Tersa-9, we celebrated an unyielding truth. In togetherness, we thrived unabated,